Hi, this is Mike Connaughton, and today I'm going to go through how to estimate and order graphics for a project on the controlgraphics.com website. The first thing we're going to do is go to the website, that's controlgraphics.com, and log in. And you log in the login page using your username and password. And once logged on, we're going to create a project. Down in this area here, there's an area called New Project Name, and you will add the project name. We're going to call this one Sample Project, and we will create it. Now that the project's been created, you can see that it is the current project, and we're going to follow these 5 steps in order to estimate and order the graphics. The first is the target platform. The default is the Johnson Controls MSEA standard graphics, and that's what this job is. We're going to leave that as is. The next step is the scope of work. And we're going to go through the scope of work by graphic page, as is selected here. You can do it by point as well, but you only count up the number of points, bound points that you will have for graphics, and you will get a higher number based on the fact that there's less detail provided. So now what we will do, using control drawings and CAD files, we will go by graphic page. We'll do our estimate that way so that we can get the most accurate price possible. So we will go through the different systems and estimate the project. Looking on my computer, I have the as-built control drawings here. You could have these at an estimating stage as well. And this is a title showing the different systems that we've got in our project. We're just going to go through them one by one. Here's the first one. It's a heating hot water system, and the number of points, I've counted them up, is like 16 or 17 points, which is less than a complex unit. So this is a simple unit, and I'll show you a little bit about what that is. So that's a water system, and it's a simple water system as opposed to a water system complex. And if you want to know the difference, it's 25 points. There are 25 bound points, and that is hardware points plus software points. So if you count up the hardware points and add about 25%, that's a good rule of thumb for how many total points there will be. And if you don't know what these systems are, if you've forgotten that number, you can click on that, as I've done here, and it brings up a little definition page that shows you what the definition of a water system is. A water system is a water system that includes 25 or fewer bound objects. If you were to click on the complex water systems, it'll say more than 25 objects. So that's our first water system, or our first system in general, and we're going to move along, and then here's another water system, which is also another simple water system. So on our estimate, or our scope tab, we're going to change that from 1 to 2 water systems, and then move along through the next drawing. And there's an air system, and that's an air handler. And I've counted up the points here. That's also less than 25 total points. And you can see here that it's air handler 1 and 2. Up near in the bill of materials, you can see that this is typical of 2 systems. So in that case, what we do is we add an air system, a simple air system, not a complex, and then there's typical systems. One of those is a typical. So you won't, the background will be the same, but the drawing or the points will be different. So that, since those are identical systems, one is a typical and one is an air system, and that does save some money. So the next system is a rooftop unit, and again, the number of points keeps that as a simple system. So I'm going to change that from 1 air system to 2 air systems, and then move along to the next system. This is an existing rooftop unit where the controls were getting retrofitted, and again, it's simple based on the point count. So we'll go and add 1 more air system, change that to 3, and then I didn't mention this earlier, but if you may have noticed, this update price button gets highlighted yellow. And if you want to do that, you click on that. You can see what the price is at that point in your estimating. So we're going to move along to the next system, and that is a terminal unit. It's a VAV box, and there are 40 of them. There's 20, 40 total VAV boxes. These, again, are identical systems, and there's 40 typicals of those. So what we will do here is estimate 1 terminal unit type, and the terminal unit quantity is where you put that number there. So you will add 40 there, 40 total units. Then the next system is another terminal unit, but in this case this is a local control, so there's no DDC control on that. So you got to make sure you don't estimate graphics for something that's not even going to be in the database. Then the next is an exhaust fan, and there's 5 of them. And the way these are typically done is an exhaust fan is an information summary. It's just a summary of all those units. There's only 1 point each, so it's a total of 5 points. So again, that falls into the simple category. If you notice, these are basically the simple side, and this side are all complex of the same. And that is an information summary, so we're going to add 1 there, and it's a simple one. Then 2 things we're missing, and that is a navigation page, which is a main page, and the floor plans that go along with this job. The navigational page is just the main page, and we're going to add 1 here for that. You may have more than 1 navigation page if you've got multiple buildings. For instance, you might have a campus site with multiple buildings. You might have an overview as a navigational summary page, and then you might drill down to a building which has its own navigational summary to drill down further to air systems, water systems, etc. So we will now move along, and that's the end of our control drawing, so we don't need that anymore, but we will now look at the CAD files for this project, and there are 3 floors to this project, and they're all the same. So I'm going to show the second floor here, and the second floor looks like this. It's kind of in a rectangular shape, fits nicely on a computer screen. There's nothing unusual about it. So that's all going to fit on 1 page. And the rule of thumb that we use, as opposed to the 25 for air systems and water systems as far as complex or simple, but for floor plans, that rule of thumb is 17. And it's spelled out well here. If you click on the floor plan link here, it brings up the definition of that. And it shows that 17 or fewer terminal units. And you can read through this. It gives you a real good idea of how that works. But in general, if you've got floor plans that have that are going to be broken into multiple sections, and you take the number of terminal units total and divide by 17, that can give you the number of floor plan sections you need. If you end up with more than, if you have 3.3, you should probably round up so that you would have 4 sections. In this case, we know we only have 3 floors, so 3 is the proper number here. And these are simple based on the fact that there are 40 terminal units, and that's less than 17. If there were 65 terminal units, these would be complex floor plans. We would want to do it that way. You may have a situation where you've got all 1 floor broken into multiple pieces, and in that case you can use the 17 per section rule of thumb type of situation. If you get into a situation where you've got 4 floors and you've got 8 units on each floor, dividing by 17 is not going to be accurate, because you are truly going to need 4 separate graphics for that. So there, we've estimated the entire job, and if we update the price, you can see that the total price is $2,060.